Hi everyone, it is Tree from Lost Time Toys, and today I am going to be reviewing some PVC figures from Rainbow Brite in the 1980s. So I just got the package I got this off of Macari for $25 and shipping and tax, so it got probably slightly over $30 at the end of it. But this is the box. It is from Gloucester, Massachusetts, and I have 5 figures to show you today. So in the United States, I believe, in the 1980s, there were 7 PVC figures that were released. There were additional figures that were released in Great Britain and in Germany, and I think Australia. Australia and Britain released very similar lines of Rainbow Brite figures, but I'm going to start off with the American collection. So I will show you the 5 figures that I got today. So this is the packaging. They're much smaller than I thought. So my reference point for these Rainbow Brite figures are the chibis. I just assumed that maybe these chibi figures took inspiration from some of the representation and iconography from the 1980s figures. I don't know whether Mattel produced them. In fact, I know so very little about these figures, but I'm going to show them to you anyway. Okay, so here's the first figure. It is obviously Rainbow Brite. She is wearing her iconic outfit. She's waving with one hand in the air. She has a blue ribbon in her hair with a red star in her hair. She's wearing her iconic blue dress with the white trim. There's also a bunch of segments to her shirt. There's yellow, red, blue segments, and it repeats again all the way up her arm. Same on the other hand. Let's take a closer look at our color belt. So the color belt is just 2 colors. There's the yellow star, and it looks like red and yellow for the primary arch. She has a blue undershirt and blue sleeves and a very thin yellow trim at the collar. If you turn to the back, you'll see that her name is imprinted on the back. It says Rainbow Brite in white, looks like serif font. I actually don't know the difference between serif and sans serif, so it could be sans serif. It looks the closest to Times New Roman, so which one is that? Maybe sans serif? No, it's serif, because I think serif is the one with like the overhang on some of the lettering. And her boots are very cute. You can see there's like a line here. So this is presumably how the pieces are wedged together. So I don't know anything about making these PVC figures, but I assume that it was produced in 2 pieces and then kind of glommed together. Glommed is the official word for that. And let's look at the boots. So the boots, there's a white kind of bubble portion to the moon boots at the top. Yellow, red, blue segments on the bottom, which is different than the coloration of the sleeves. The order of the sleeves is different because red should be before yellow, but that's okay. And she has red boots at the bottom, and it is yellow all the way through. Okay, there's some red text at the bottom. It is copyright 2003 Hallmark cards, written out in abbreviations, and made in China. So we have yellow on the bottom, and I think there's a yellow star where she straps on the boots. So there is a little bit of, like, if you look at her profile, the dress kind of pivots upward. It looks a little bit windswept, and her ponytail has curls and striations like the hair. So there's a lot of detail in that. I only wish that the face were painted with more particularity and precision. It's pretty plain. She does have a blue star on her upper cheek. So that is the Rainbow Brite figure, the first one. And I will now show you Twink. So this is the Twink figure. Twink is holding up one hand and the other one is akimbo to his side. Red arms, white fur all the way around, and they are marked with kind of striations to show the fur. Twink has yellow star ears, which are precisely cut. The belt is very nice. It's blue belt with the red buckle, a yellow pocket, and a red side pocket. The face is peach and a very cute nose. The eyes look pretty much identical to the way that the eyes are drawn on the hand sprites. We have a smile, a hint of a smile with a sideways mouth in red, kind of sticking his mouth open. The legs and shoes are very similar to Rainbow's. Let's take a look at that. Very similar, slightly smaller, but the order of the colors are blue, yellow, red, blue, yellow. And then we have the red boots, and similarly yellow on the bottom. And the bottom also reads copyright 1983, Hallmark cards made in China. So that's the second figure. So I have 3 more figures to show you. The next one is Glee. So this is a female girl sprite, presumably maybe belonging to Shy Violet. So, I didn't show you the back of Twink. Twink has blue text in the back and also in serif font, if it is indeed serif. The back of Glee has her name, Glee, and her fur is this light to medium purple. She has orange stars for ears and a blue ribbon at the top of her head. I'm sorry for the noise. I don't have the best setup here, and I'm trying to make the best. I record after work, and sometimes there's other people in the house. So her arms are orange, and she's holding up what looks like a flower, a white flower with a orange circular portion of the flower. Her face is very similar to Twink, except she has a pale purple face, an orange nose instead of a red nose, and it looks like orange, feminine, a heart-shaped lip. The colors of her feet are very different. We have, instead of the typical red, yellow, blue, we have purple, a lighter periwinkle, or maybe a lighter lavender, blue, and then orange shoes at the bottom. And then the bottom of her shoes are this light purple. And we have the same exact print on the bottom in blue font. So that is Glee. It's interesting that they chose Glee, of all people, to include in the 7 figures for the 1980s release, but I don't know why. So the fourth figure of 5 that I'm showing you is this is Puppy Brite. I actually think this looks very, very cute. It looks more adorable than the Loyal Subjects 2025 Easter release chibis. And the size of these are approximately 2 inches tall. Maybe the sprites are maybe an inch and a half. This looks like 2 inches. So Puppy Brite is obviously a dog, and he is in this kind of bright mustard yellow, and Puppy Brite has blue, yellow, and red for the ears, and blue stars at the very top, a very cute face, a red and prominent tail that is flickered upwards, and the best part of Puppy Brite is his shirt. So the shirt is white trim on the sides, a white collar, a white star in the center, and then there's red surrounding the bottom. But the coolest part is the fact that there is like a rainbow in the front and the bodice. The rainbow is comprised of 4 colors: blue, yellow, orange, and red, in that order. And Puppy Brite's name is actually on the bottom. So unlike the others that has it on the back, Puppy Brite's name is on his shirt at the bottom in white text. And the trademark and copyright is on the bottom the bottom right foot. Again, the same thing. Copyright 1983. Hallmark cards made in China. So that is Puppy Brite. Very cute brown nose and brown eyes with 3 eyelash in each eye. So the last figure that I'm showing you today is my favorite of the figures, and it's the most prominent. It is a Lurky. So the reason why I think this is my most cherished of the 5 in this lot that I got is because Lurky is not a chibi figure that was created in the Loyal Subjects line. So this is a new figure, and so this will be a totally unique character that I can display with my chibis in, let's say, the color castle or a shelf. And it is very heavy relative to the other figures. So Lurky is all brown. He's wearing these prominent and big red and white tennis shoes. There's white laces on the shoes, and they look like all-star Converses. On the side, the emblem is a white circle with a black thunderbolt. It looks like there's some markings on the side of his shoe and the bottom here, but it's the same copyright at the bottom, except because there's more space, there's more real estate, they wrote out Hallmark cards all the way through. 1983 copyright Hallmark cards, Inc., made in China. So the details on the fur is very, very nice. He actually looks exactly like the cartoon character, with his big nose, his beady round eyes, and his tongue sticking out of the side of his mouth. And then his arms are this kind of like grayish brown color, and Lurky is written on the back. So he looks very, very nice, and probably my favorite of the PVC figures in this lot. So let me show you everyone again. Which one is your favorite? There's Rainbow Brite. This is Twink. This is Glee, the female girl sprite, holding what looks like a daisy. This is Puppy Brite with its red tail. And this is Lurky. Much bigger and heavier and girthier than the rest. I feel like so much detail went into this one. So hit subscribe if this is content that you enjoy, and I can't wait to hear what you think about the 1980s Rainbow Brite PVC figures.